Imagine for a moment what would happen if you just let go of the need to control the outcome. If you could step into each interaction like an explorer, curious, open, present, without needing to know where the path leads. And as you think about that now, you might begin to notice something shifting. Because isn't it fascinating how the less you try to force an outcome, the more naturally things flow. It's as if the moment you release the need to figure everything out, your mind becomes sharper, clearer, more creative. And maybe, just maybe, that playful mindset, it isn't just an approach, it's a key that unlocks new possibilities, new perspectives, new connections, in a way you'd never imagined before. After all, when you stop overthinking and start truly listening, something magical happens. You start to see beyond words, beyond logic, into the heart of the moment itself. And as you breathe into that realization, you might wonder, what happens when you allow yourself to simply be? What new experiences become possible when you stop chasing and start allowing? And isn't it interesting how easily change happens when you stop trying to make it happen? Because it's fascinating how the mind, it can hold on to old rules. Rules that were never truly yours. Rules that once felt necessary, but now they just seem like echoes of the past that no longer applies. And the more you notice those rules, the more you begin to see them for what they are. Old ideas, old restrictions, old limitations that were never set in stone, never permanent, never unchangeable. Because the truth is, rules can be rewritten, patterns can be changed. And the more you let go of what no longer serves you, the more space you create for something new. And isn't it fascinating how easily this happens when you just allow it? And as you think about that now, you may begin to wonder, what would it be like to step into a new way of being? A way of being where meeting someone isn't a test, but a game. Not a burden, but an adventure. What would it be like if every interaction was just a moment? Just a spark of curiosity. Just a chance to see what happens, without needing to control what comes next. Because isn't it true, the best moments in life, they're the ones we never saw coming. The ones that just happened naturally, effortlessly, without pressure or expectation. And as you breathe into that idea now, you might notice something shifting. A feeling, a knowing, a realization that it's always been this simple. That the weight, the pressure, the worry was never really there. It was just an illusion, a trick of the mind, a game you no longer have to play. And as you step into this new way of being, you begin to see that every moment is just an invitation to be curious, to be playful, to explore without attachment, without hesitation. When you think about it, isn't that exactly what makes life exciting? Because the more you embrace this, the more you realize you don't have to know where the road leads to enjoy the walk. You don't have to predict the outcome to appreciate the moment. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful thing you can do is simply be here now. And as you let that sink in, you might wonder, how different does the world feel now? And isn't it interesting how easily everything changes when you do? And you may even notice how, in the past, certain thoughts, they had a way of looping, circling back, keeping you in place. Almost like a dream. You didn't know you were dreaming. Because isn't it interesting how the mind can create entire realities out of nothing but ideas? Ideas that once felt solid, fixed, immovable. And yet now, as you begin to notice them, you begin to see them for what they are. Thoughts, just thoughts. Thoughts that once had power, but now they start to dissolve. Because the moment you truly see them, you also see beyond them. And maybe you started to wonder, what happens when you step outside of those old rules, those old limitations? What happens when you realize that they were never really yours to begin with? That they were just something picked up along the way, something learned, but not something permanent. And the more you think about that now, the more a feeling starts to grow inside you. a feeling of something new, something fresh, something alive, a curiosity, a playfulness, a realization that maybe, just maybe, it was never about pressure, never about control, never about getting it right. Because isn't it true, the best things in life, they're the ones you never planned. The laughter that comes out of nowhere. The moments that just happen. The times when you weren't trying to impress, weren't trying to predict, weren't trying at all. And yet everything just clicked. And as you begin to feel that now, you might find yourself wondering, what would it be like to live that way? To let go of the need to know. To stop trying, to see 10 steps ahead. To simply be here, now, just for the fun of it. Because the truth is, the more you release the need to control, the more in control you actually are. The more you let go, the more things fall into place. And isn't it fascinating how easy it is to step into that way of being? To allow yourself to be playful, curious, free. And as you begin to breathe that in now, you might notice a shift happening. Not because you forced it, not because something inside you always knew this. That freedom was always yours. That possibility was always within reach. That the rules, they were never real. And as you step forward into this new way of seeing, of feeling, of being, you begin to realize something truly powerful. That this is who you've always been. Now that you see it, now that you feel it, it's already yours. And isn't that an incredible thing to know?